Hello. Welcome. I am so excited to be here for another spicy tea.
You never know what's going to come out of her mouth. So
it's part of our charm.
Part of our charm.
It's probably why half the audience logs in the first place. They're like, right. Let's just see.
What are they going to say?
Let's see what these middle-aged women come up with today to talk about. Right. Last time it was blowjobs. Today, sexual frustration.
Oh, gosh.
So the overview here is what happens when one spouse in particular unilaterally decides that sex is off the table for one reason or the other. And I've got on my Patreon side, which is called The Vault. You hear me talking about it on here all the time, but I do a lot of case studies. So what I've collected is a series of just case studies from over the years, from friendships, from things I've read, from Reddit, wherever we find them, and just kind of made notes on them so that we can go through, we can discuss, because anybody who's struggling, any men in particular who are struggling with frustrations in the sexual area are probably going to recognize themselves in at least one of these case studies.
And it's helpful to learn from other people, because this is the stuff you always talk to your friends about or others about it. And honestly, nowadays, it's very difficult to understand who you trust, like know who you should trust with some of this information.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, it is sad. I mean, I get surprised by how many people will go to essentially do a live or a stream or a video of some kind, and it's truly just venting or crying to the camera to whoever happens to see it. And the internet has a long memory. Like, it shocks me how much of that I see.
And they're very, very honest. And sometimes they're not just being honest with you, they're just saying stuff because they want to hurt you.
Yeah.
Because they have no vested interest in you.
Yeah.
So I do not understand. I don't even like to cry in public. Like, I don't like anyone to see me cry. Like, I'm just not that person. So I never understand that. Every time I see one of those videos of a woman, it's usually a woman.
It's usually a woman. Let's be real.
Let's be honest. But I don't get it. So you set up your camera and you were like, okay, I'm having a breakdown. Like, I've certainly had, very emotional parts of and not at any time did I videotape it and go, I should probably video and put this out there so everybody knows how upset I am.
I should probably take a pause in this breakdown to set up my camera so that I can record it.
I mean, you and I talked for weeks about this. We're like, okay, so when can you meet on this day? Can you meet on that? Like, it's just a planned thing. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. But this is a good way to kind of differentiate the truth from fallacy, how to kind of real on the ground information for how to overcome this kind of stuff if you're dealing with it. So we hope today helps you in some way. All right, let's get the ball rolling. Yes. What are you drinking? Are you still working on caffeine? Cheers.
Yeah. I have hot
tea. I have hot herbal tea.
I don't like the regular Red Bull, but I love all of their different flavors. And the new one is coming out. Right now it's Cherry Sakura. And now the next summer series is coming out soon. It's a lime one. So I'm very interested.
Ooh.
It's really good with tequila. So I am excited about it.
Tequila makes my clothes fall off. And it usually makes me cry. But I love it.
I love tequila. Like any Mexican liquor based on agave, I like it.
I love it.
For sure.
All right. So we're going to go number 1 here. Actually, number 5. But, we're doing it. She knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start with more of like the ladies who are dealing with hormonal problems, or challenges. We've got biological problems going. We maybe have some trauma stuff going, like things that in the bedroom you have to try and overcome, or challenges that you have that really have nothing to do with anything you have done as the husband, as the man in this relationship, to earn it, so to speak. Okay, so here's the scoop. A wife begins refusing sex after childbirth, perimenopause, depression, medication changes, pain. Sexual pain's a big one with the menopause stuff. Trauma triggers, body image struggles, chronic stress. The husband feels rejected. It's a given. How could he not, right? She feels broken, pressured, embarrassed, or afraid. He tries to talk about sex, but all she feels like is he's accusing her. She gets defensive. He's coming after her. So she avoids the topic altogether. She doesn't know how to fix it. And in a lot of those cases, she doesn't really care to know how to fix it, right? He stops initiating because he just is tired of being rejected. And now they both are essentially just alone inside a marriage. They're sharing a roof, they're sharing space, they're probably sharing kids but even in a lot of those cases, you've already got the kids almost launched. So you're just two people very alone in a legally binding relationship. It gets tricky.
And I know we said this a million times, and it's just going to repeat it, is that it's about the communication. So, okay, take the initiation off the table. Like, stop initiating sex, being every time we get into the bedroom, it's like, I'm going to try and get in your pants. Like, okay, take that pressure off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go, okay, sex is important to me. So what is bothering you? Are you in pain? Do you not desire me? It's like what is it? And try and get to that kind of root of the problem. And I've certainly been in a relationship like this, and we never did get to a root of the problem. Like there was too much resentment built. And that's if you let it go too long and that resentment builds, you get to a point of no return, and then you're roommates. When you take sex off the table and there's no sex, you're roommates. And whether you want to believe it or not, it is a need for a man. It should be a need for a woman.
Yeah.
And that is the step one to having an affair.
Yeah, truly. But I do think your most important point is step one, stop trying to initiate. If she's just going to feel more pressured and get more angry about it and more closed off, she's just going to close off more. If that happens, he's going to continue to just get more and more frustrated. Talk about pushing a man into an affair. The first woman who gives him an inkling of attention then becomes the new target. Like, everything about this is bad news.
Well, and here's the what I think is the business opportunity. It's like classic dread game, right? So if a man goes to his woman and says, okay, I'm going to stop initiating, but I need to better understand what it is about sex. And her response is, I'm just not attracted to you anymore. Like, there's just that. If that's what she says, step one, dread game. And I wish we had a consultant dread game service where someone could just call us up and go, hey, by the way, I'm going to be at the grocery store with my wife. Can you hit on me?
Yep, exactly.
Yep, I can come hit on you, because it does work. As much as women want to deny that this, and I hate the word dread and everything that comes along with it, with the praxeology, but I do think it does 100% work. That's why your best friend goes after your boyfriend.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, there are so many times, and as women, we see it where you are just aggravated and irritated and don't want anything to do with your husband or your spouse or your boyfriend or whatever. And then you see someone else just talking to him from across the room, or that known or unknown, They may know that you exist. They may not know that you exist. And it fires something in you. And it's a shame how many times that makes the man go, oh, she does give a shit.
Yes, exactly. And of course, my husband is in the chat.
Oh,
my exceptional husband. He has to call me out.
Oh.
But it 100%. Now, if that's the response, if a response is, I'm just not that into you, okay, well then you need to show her that other women find you desirable.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, and I will say, with this being a case of medical hormonal trauma based, I mean, there shutdowns can happen for all kinds. I think the good example here is that shutdowns can happen having nothing to do with you whatsoever, but they do very much impact you as the man. So, like, if it's something that's biological, then let's address that medically. But that's where, like Sarah Beth's saying, we need to have the conversation. We need to have communication. If there's sexual pain because she's having dryness, or maybe she's always just been more on the dry side, vaginally, then that's a medical thing. We can address that,
Yeah.
If it's a perimenopause,
if you're not comfortable with your doctor, like my naturopath asks me every time I talk to him, how's your libido?
Yeah.
Like, how are things going? Is anything impacting it? I am at that age, right? Like I am in my 50s. So he's going to ask because
sure.
And he always has. I've been going to him for a while. But not everybody has that comfort level with with their doctor to talk about the holistic. And not many doctors are that holistic. So you could do a little bit of research on your own, find a online, a reputable online person who talks about this stuff and be like, wait, is this me? Get more comfortable with the topic and then bring it up with your doctor. Like there's I'm not going to say just get your Google MD and diagnose yourself. Get yourself smart. Try and figure out where your symptoms line up with what other people are feeling and go, that might be me. You have so much access to knowledge and content that there's really no excuse.
Right.
I do take supplements to help, whether it's I can certainly tell when I haven't taken my testosterone shot.
Yeah.
It is a difference, right? And I take my DHEA, and again, it's certainly the hormonal, when it's medical, fix that. You can fix that. If you're dry, there are lubes, so many lubes made of so many different things that will not irritate you, that will taste good, all the things. Like there's so much out there. And you don't even have to go to the sex store. You can order it online.
Right.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, we used to actually have to go to the store. But I do think that that's one hiccup that we run into is she has to want to get solved here, right? So I think in a lot of instances, with this communication, and if she says, listen, sex hurts. Why would I want that doesn't sound fun to me. I've lost interest. It doesn't feel good. I have a trauma response to this. Then that's where the man needs to be able to lead and say, okay, if you won't talk to your doctor about this, we're going to go together, and I'm going to be there in the conversation. I'm going to be in the examining room because I'm your husband and our sex life matters. If it's a trauma response, then let's get help with that.
Response? I need to better understand what you're saying. You're saying,
well, maybe a rape, maybe,
we were talking about a couple that's later in their marriage, later on in life.
Yeah.
So you saying that
I'm saying there are a couple of different ways that maybe have nothing to do with anything that he's done wrong, so to speak, that would cause him, chronic stress is listed here, some sort of trauma-based, shutdown, like emotional shutdown. So it's just kind of a blanket under things that he didn't do anything wrong, and yet he's paying the price for.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we have an entire generation that stews in their trauma, stews in these experiences that they've had previous in life 10, 15, 20 years ago, or, And then they've been taught to think about it all the time. Every time anything related to that comes up, they should think about it and let it impact their current experience.
Right.
You know, I've had traumatic experiences back in the day, high school, whatever, you know. Yeah, that stuff happened. And now I don't think about it.
Yeah.
And every once in a while it comes up and I'm like, you know what? That was a really bad person that did that to me. That was a hurt, damaged person that did that to me. I will not be around damaged people anymore.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we created a generation of they must think about all the bad stuff in their life all the time because that's who they are. And it's like, no, that was a bad person who did that to you. You need to figure out how to learn from it and forget about it and move forward. They do not deserve to live free in your head.
Yeah.
But sorry.
And I will say, like, you and I are both extremely optimistic people. So we're just like, by design, you and I are just like, yeah, I mean, just get over it. Like, let's go on. Like,
it's Gen X. That's
so,
Gen X.
you know, I do think that there's something to be said for that. We know. We know that we're also like Pollyannas and don't want to look at the ugly stuff or let it affect us.
No, I don't.
I find that charming. All right, let's go on to, I think this one is going to speak to a lot of men, because I think that most men generally fit into this category if they're living in some version of a sexless marriage. You're the good man. You're a good man. You're a nice man, but you just aren't being desired anymore by your wife. So you're loyal, you're stable, you're helpful, you're present, you're safe, but she just doesn't desire you anymore. She loves her husband as a person. She appreciates him as a father. She says he's a good man. She brags to her friends about how good he is, but sexually she still remains cold. She doesn't flirt. She doesn't initiate. She doesn't respond to his initiation. She doesn't admire him, which is a biggie. That's a big show of lack of respect and lack of desire. She doesn't look at him like he's dangerous in a good way. Like, you know, there's no raw sex appeal. There's no passion there. He keeps trying to be nicer, but the niceness isn't polarity. So there's nothing there that's causing her to see him in a sexual way. He asks what he can do. She says, I don't know. I don't know. It's just when it's just not there, it's just not there, right? So he interprets it as a whole mystery. He scratches his head. He's confused. And really they just kind of live in this apathy towards just apathetic roommates.
That's just that sounds awful. One,
it does.
Let's go back to the dread game. Like, of course, you gotta break.
Yes.
I mean, that's an easy one. Just get women to talk to you in front of your wife, and she'll start to go, wait a minute, other women like him? Two, are you planning the dates? Are you giving some adventure? Because, you know, Noble, my exceptional husband, does talk about this a bit in regards to like you gotta get out there and do different things, like not just, oh, you want to go out to eat, where do you want to eat?
Exactly.
You know, I'll say to him, I'm in the mood for Mexican or I'm in the mood for Italian, and he'll be, all right, be ready at 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that's the way it works. And
it's
he
a
just
big
does
deal.
it. When I say I want to save the turtles, he puts together a weekend in Cabo and we go like save turtles. And I was like so overjoyed. Like I had turtle necklace, I had turtle earrings, I had all the things, turtles, and I was over the moon just, and it still lives rent free in my head. I'm like, he did that for me. Like it goes a long way to provide that adventure, to provide some interest in, you know, in dating, and like, I'm going to take you out and I'm going to dress nice and not in cargo shorts and a t-shirt. Yeah. You know, I'm going to work out. And if you're not working out, first of all, working out is the best anti-aging.
Yeah.
And it builds a little bit of that sexual desire because as we all know, if we've ever been on Twitter before, we look like a bunch of whores in the gym. So if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, wait, do I look good? Like, is someone going to look at me and be like, you look good? Or do I look at like a ham planet? Like, okay, but
right.
there's some work to do there. So, there's definitely some things you can do outside of the bedroom that will lead to the bedroom. Like and Noble and I went through this a bit where if we didn't see each other for a while and then we saw each other, he was like, all right, let's get naked, let's go. And every once in a while I was like, I need to reconnect. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, I feel the connection.
We're talking about reconnecting. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I feel the connection. And I'm like, I need to cuddle. And he's like, oh woman.
We'll cuddle after.
Right. But there is that kind of that exchange of energy outside of the bedroom that builds because you're having fun outside the bedroom, and then you're just like, oh, I have so much fun with him, isn't he great? It's so exciting, and leads to the bedroom.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so a couple of things. So Noble said that dread game won't work if he's not interesting and attractive. So exactly what you're saying. He needs to join a boxing gym, which I love. That's a great idea. And I am going to add the link to, because Fort Worth has a book, because I got to shield my man's. It's Dread Game. I mean, it's a book about Dread Game. So the link is in the comments if anybody doesn't know that exists.
I was talking about your husband last night, actually. So we were at the Japanese Friendship Garden on a midweek date, and we were talking about, like, I go, why don't more men take you to, like, Japanese Friendship Garden? I'm like, well, I know what Fort Worth would say. He would say, drinks, just drinks. And so.
But make no mistake, that's just for the beginning. Like, Fort Worth is all about, like, those first few dates, getting her from stranger to in your bed. Beyond that, he's like, all bets are off.
But what my exceptional husband was explaining to me, he's like, yeah, but he also talks about how you go from place to place. So maybe you would start at the Friendship Garden and then you would go to a bar and then go to another bar, and it distorts time. And he said it more eloquently than I'm saying right now. And but I was like, oh, okay, like, I get that. But that's what, like, take her to the farmer's market and then you can go, and it's like a full day, whatever. And it creates that kind of adventure because you're going to different places. It can be as easy as that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't take her to 3 dive bars that all look the same. But if you go to, Friendship Garden, then you're going to the Irish pub and you're like, well, like, that's, I could see that. I could see how that would feel like an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like in the beginning when we were just dating, beyond that first few days, that first few weeks or whatnot, we started going to Topgolf. You start going to axe throwing. You start going on bike rides. You start going on, like, weekends if once you kind of reach that level of intimacy. But, like, it's always something new. I never knew. It wasn't just like going out to dinner because, nobody wants to fuck on a full stomach. But it's everything is an adventure. Everything is interesting. There's always something interesting to talk about. It's not just, well, what are you doing at work right now? What's on your phone right now? Like, there were interesting things going on. And what I always appreciated about him that I still brag about is he could tell me a story, but the way he would tell it, you didn't know if it happened yesterday or 40 years ago. It could have been some story from when he was a teenager, but the way he told it, so it sounded like it could have just happened. So it sounded like he had a very full and interesting life. And I think that that's where a lot of men falter, is all of their stories are from when they were 19 years old, but they also tell you that they were from when they were 19 years old. So I'm like, well, yeah, but now you're 53. So what does that do for me?
Right? Like, are you still going on adventures, or are you just watching TV every night, scrolling on your phone and shit?
Right.
Like what
Right.
are you doing? Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree.
Do you just
What Noble does that just like intellectually stimulates me is the historical of whatever. Like we'll be somewhere and I'll be like, oh, this is really neat. And he's like, actually, did you know that they built that bridge in Japan before they brought it over here? And he doesn't talk like that, but anyway, um, and I'd be like, why would they do that? I didn't know that. He just has the historical memory, and that's how he tells the stories.
That's really cool.
And when I ask questions, he always knows the answer, and if he doesn't, he figures it out within like 30 seconds of like the AI on his phone, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, now it triggers what I knew about blah blah blah," and he gives me the whole story, and I just like sit there mind blown, like. How do you?
And there's a lesson there, gentlemen. There's a lesson there. Don't shy away from telling the interesting stuff. I think that too many men tend to clam up, instead of thinking that women are the only ones who have to be chatty sometimes.
But it's also like you don't want to be sitting around every weekend and a woman is like, are you available this weekend? You're like, no, actually, I'm not. I'm going to the Highland Games down in Tucson, and I'll be gone for most of the day Saturday. But I have a little bit of time on Sunday afternoon. Like, you want to have plans that first of all builds how interesting you are, and you're just not always available.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
Don't be always available. So if you're a good man who she brags on what a good man you are, but she doesn't have any interest in you sexually, dread.
Yeah,
Get interesting.
Really pushing this dread. Yeah, go get Fort Worth Playboy.
Get interesting. Get adventures under your belt. Do some cool shit. It will turn her on. She needs to. She needs to get some spark. She needs to get some spark back.
Exactly.
Oh, but he needs to get some spark back. I think a lot of times, he's a good man, because he's a good dad and he, volunteers at the church and,
if he does everything, if he's doing all the things in the house, like if she's like, oh, and he does the parenting and he does everything with the kids and he does the cooking and that's feminine.
Right.
Like she might not say it and she might say, I love all these things. But in the back of her mind, she knows that's all feminine stuff.
Right. She knows she might as well have a girlfriend.
Right. I mean, my husband does some cooking. It's called grilling. Like, that's what he does. Like, he does the grill. So, yeah, it's the polarity, the relationship roles and stuff. Whether you want to admit it or not, it impacts her. It impacts her. She might say she really likes it, but you need to be the dad that's throwing your kids in the air and doing crazy, dangerous stuff with your kid. That's your role as a dad. Like, that's your role. And she should be like, oh my God, ew. Like, she should be on the edge of her seat, like, oh my,
Yeah.
Trust my husband, but that's dad. Mom is.
That's polarity.
Polarity, yes. Polarity is important. I'm sure you guys have a gumroad on
that. We need one.
Right. Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the punishment bed. So a husband has made mistakes over the years, which, let's face it, the longer we're together, the more mistakes are made, right? That's just how life works. Maybe he was emotionally dismissive. Maybe he was careless with money, or maybe he just neglected romance. Sometimes what makes you careless as a man and what needs to be punished by a woman is just that you were working too hard. You were working your ass off and you were not available at home. I mean, when I was growing up, my father was in retail. He left before anybody got up and he was home at like 9 p.m. every night, which back then was actually late. I didn't see him. I saw him on 2 days on Saturday because I went to work with him, and on Sunday because it's the Lord's Day. Like, that's how often I saw my dad. I'm sure if my mother hadn't have gotten the memo, she would have been real bitter about that. If that were living today, she'd be pissed off because I bet there were a lot of days she never heard from him during the day whatsoever, you know? So I think a lot of times men are being punished for actually genuinely just working and not being always so readily available. So the wife in this kind of situation, let's say, hasn't necessarily left, but she also doesn't really forgive him and she punishes him at every stop, which I see a lot in the women. I would say, I mean, I hate to categorize this, but I would say the older we get, the more women we know who just want to go out of their way to punish their husbands for some version of neglect, as far as she's aware, at least, or concerned.
So I will say that in the beginning of my relationship with my exceptional husband, I had to humble myself in realizing how much I needed attention. It was
right. You and I need attention. Say it isn't so. I don't believe you.
I didn't realize how much I wanted the attention. Like how my intention and behaviors. I was like, I don't need attention. And he'd be like, well, then why do you do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, like, I'm like, am I doing that for attention? I had to really think about what I was doing and why I was doing it and focus on, holy crap, I really am looking for the attention. And he gives me I'm a stage 5 clinger. I am a stage 5 clinger. And attention is a woman's oxygen, 100%. It is our currency. Yeah. And the sooner a woman can admit that, the better it is. And men, that's what they want. I mean, that's what she wants. She wants that. And we have a good system here where I sometimes get little stickers when I've like been really good or something. And that gives me like a little bit of attention. Like I have what is it? What is that called? What kink is
like
that?
A chore chart kind of sticker situation here. Do you get gold stars?
Basically, like you're getting gold stars. Like you like praise. Like you have that praise. All women have a praise kink, right? So give her the praise with attention. Give it with, hey, Skittles. It goes back to the Skittles girl, right?
Yes. Like, oh my gosh. We haven't talked about Skittles in too long. You need to talk about some Skittles.
He totally ran Skittles on me. I remember the day he came home and handed me Skittles. And I was like, that's amazing. This is great. This is it. I just got gold stars.
Well played, Noble. Well played.
So, but I remember he gave it to me and I was so excited. I was like, you were at the store and you bought me Skittles? I love Skittles. This is great. And I had no idea. I didn't know about the whole Skittles thing before that. But he was like, you just passed the test. And I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand. And then I read the article and he told me all about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. Like, I don't need just the Coach bag or the whatever bag. Like the fact that you were thinking of me when you were out there and you got something, you brought it home. It gives me that attention. He never denies me of attention. If I go to him in the middle of the day and he's not on a work call and I'm like, I want to cuddle up on your lap. He's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm stage 5 clinger. He's got my number and it goes a long way. And he fills up my attention bank so much that I don't ever look for it from other guys. If I get it I was at the gas station once and I would go to the same gas station with Isaac, with my son. And I ran into the same cashier a couple times. It was a young man, decent looking, okay shape. And he recognized me. And then he gave me the I fucking look. And I was like, I can't come back here. Right. I felt dirty. I felt like Like, I don't know his name. I didn't, like, no idea who he is. I came home and told my husband about it because he fills my attention bank so much that I don't even, the peripheral attention that I get from other men because I dress like a whore at the gym doesn't even register. It doesn't like get into my bank at all. Like, it's not fulfilling. He fills my entire attention bank, and it takes a lot. But once it's full, it doesn't really deplete because I'm getting a little bit every day, and I know that I'm his number one. Like, it's just, it really does go a long way. But the attention is, but for some men, like, they're just like, oh, why does she always call? Why does she always want to be by me? Why does she always ask me for this? Why she wants your freaking attention? Like, just 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be hours.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. I
completely agree. And I love that. I do want to, I want to share kind of what the Skittle game was, because I do think it's been too long since it used to be kind of a hot topic back in our day, but it used to be a hotter topic than it is. So if you already know what Skittle game is, feel free to like zone out for the next 3 minutes. In a nutshell, wasn't it Chateau Heartiste? Wasn't it a Royalty article? And I'm sure Noble will put it in the comments in just a moment. But the bottom line is, it essentially said, don't give gifts, give her a bag of Skittles. Because if she appreciates something as minor as a bag of Skittles, and she is truly appreciative of it, she's like, oh my God, thank you. Just like the response that Sarah Beth was just talking about, then she's a good woman. She's truly interested in you. She is going to appreciate anything that you do for her, but she's also not going to expect a whole, she'll hold the bar low. And so everything that you do is like amazing and remarkable, and she's so grateful. And so that's what Skittle game is. And I love that. I mean, Fort Worth always is like, you're the best gift giver ever because you appreciate everything. And I think that's a great compliment, but as a result of that, when he likes to do extra stuff for me, because if a bag of Skittles will get me excited, what do new motorcycle boots do? Let me tell you, they make me smile. Like, they make me lose my mind.
And your clothes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good example of kind of how to filter women to make sure that they're going to appreciate the things that you do for them and not just be expectant of things. I think another great example, based on what you were talking about, Sarah Beth, about like your attention bank is already full to overflowing. So when you get outside attention, number one, it doesn't register, but whenever it does kind of break through the wall, it kind of makes you uncomfortable, is the best way to put it. I think that Zendaya, which I am not great on pop culture any way, shape, or form, but Zendaya, that beautiful goddess girl who like won't let other men assist her. Like, she's not super demonstrative about it, but people are starting to clock that she doesn't give other males attention outside of her, whatever, Tom Holland or whatever his name is. And I mean, talk about a guy who he's not ugly. He's still in Hollywood or whatever, but like, he's no Brad Pitt. Like, he's not like the leading man or some big masculine figure, but her attention, bank is full. She has eyes for him. She doesn't, give other men attention. I'm sure she gets it all the time from unknown and known sources. It goes a long way.
It does. And, this is something that we have talked a lot about, because I'm like, well, he's like, well, so-and-so was hitting on you. I'm like, okay, but how am I supposed to feel about, like, yeah, I know they're hitting on me. Like, okay, sure, they're hitting on me. I don't care. I know that, but I don't want to tell you that a guy's hitting on me. Like what am I supposed, like, it was an entire conversation because I'm like, I don't know how the correct way to react. Am I
Right.
supposed to tell you? Am I supposed to, yeah, I know he's hitting on me. Of course, like, yeah, whatever. If a guy's talking to me, he's hitting on you. I'm sorry, women. Like, if a man is talking to you, he's hitting on you. Like, just deal with it. Okay. That's just the way that they're wired. It doesn't mean they're going to rape you.
Right.
It just means that they're like, wow, I bet she looks good naked.
Yeah.
She's pretty nice. Like that. It's just a thought.
And you'd be right.
It's just, hopefully you do look good naked. It's the easiest way to keep your man.
That's
Just
right.
But it is like it's okay to get hit on. It's not okay to lead someone on to think that they're getting somewhere, that, you know, flirting back and like all that stuff. But yeah, the attention bank, that was a kind of an epiphany for me in this relationship of, and when I go back and I think of previous relationships and my actions and behaviors and what I was doing, I was like, I was trying to fill my attention bank. Like, now I realize what I was doing. I didn't make the connection, but I get it now for sure.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. And I think a lot of men fall into this punishment bed. And I think a lot of it is exactly that. It's like she's needing stuff from him that he's not giving her. Yeah. And as the result, she punishes over and over and over and over.
And I don't want everyone, oh, you're blaming the man. Okay, it takes two people to tango. I get it. It takes two people, but know your role. Yeah. And set the tone. Yeah. If you're gonna be masculine and be the man, then be the man.
Yeah. It's very good. All right, let's talk about the women who use the I'm too tired excuse. Like, and I don't even have to read anything on my notes about this. Like, she's always too tired. And like Sarah Beth and I were talking about earlier, it's also that you always have time for what you want. You always have energy for what you want to do. So she may scroll on her phone for 5 hours straight on the couch or in bed at night or whatever. And yet she's too tired for sex.
So I have certainly noticed that on days that I have my son, which I have him 50%, I am much more tired by the end of the day.
Sure.
By the end of the evening, I'm like, whoa. So I have figured out, what can I do if we're planning on having an evening, fun time in the bedroom, what can I do to make sure that I have the energy? Or do I need to maybe try and do something in the middle of the day? Like, what can I do? So one, I figured out music. There is certain music that gives me energy. So while I'm putting my son's stuff together for the next day, I put that music in, it gets my energy going. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not so tired.
Yeah.
So then I figured that out. That was and I keep walking. Like, I don't sit on the couch. I'm always walking around, because the second I stop, my energy levels go way down. Now, if I just know that I am just going to be way too tired, like if you're trying to work in a calorie deficit, or you're on the Retta, or, you know, whatever it is, you have to even be more conscious of it. You're like, okay, when is my energy at its height? All right, well, then maybe you need to focus on getting a nooner in. Like, you need to prioritize it. It's important to him. It should be important to you. And you need to prioritize it. So it doesn't have to be at the end of the day. You can wake him up with a blowy. He won't mind. He might say, hang on, I gotta go to the bathroom. Morning.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. But, you know, like, if she's cuddling up to you in the morning, like, just let it
roll with it.
Like, roll with it, you know, like, just go with it. But figure out what your energy levels are, because that is part of the, going back to the hormonal thing, it is part of the hormonal thing. Our energy levels up and down throughout the day. So you've got to figure it out. Like, just psychoanalyze yourself and what's happening. Different times of the month you are going to be, and if you're horny, like, you can initiate. Like, just do it. Just be like, text message, like, hey, I need a dick appointment later. Okay. He's going to be like, okay, dress appropriately.
Right.
I'm not going to say that text exchange did or did not happen within the last week. fresh in mind. But I mean, you can do that. Like you can initiate and you can say it. But if you initiate and you say it, you better follow through.
Exactly. Exactly. And that goes back to, in case y'all didn't catch it, we did a spicy tea episode about a month ago, and we talked about just that, where maybe she kind of initiates midday with a text and then forgets and just like kind of shuts down in the evening. So feel free to circle back to that one. And I will also say, like, I also deal with a lot of men who are younger who have young kids at home. Their wife is genuinely tired, but that's where I say exactly what you've said, where it's like, okay, have a real discussion with her. If you are tired at 10:30 at night, when we finally get everybody to bed and we finally have some adult time, that makes sense. Of course you're tired, but we need to find time where we can be adults together. And so whether that's before the world wakes up, whether that's midday during nap time, whether that's we hire a babysitter and we hire the babysitter to take the kids out of the house rather than us leaving and not having anywhere to fool around, like, there, you have to make sure that you communicate with your wife, with your tired wife, that this is an important aspect of you two staying a connected unit and a strong, healthy marriage. So let's make sure that this is always a priority. And the more you remind her of that when you have these conversations, the more it actually stays in the forefront of her mind that she's not going to be able to get away with the, oh, I'm just tired excuse for a long period of time. I'm the same way. If Fort Worth or I are just have had a day or we've had a week or we've got a lot of extra stress happening or something, one of us will say, hey, just so you know, will it destroy you if I take a pass tonight? Like, that's what we call it. Can we take a pass tonight? And I'll be like, oh, absolutely. But we truly go, listen, if it will hurt your feelings today, or if it will offend you, we'll do it, but it may not be great. Like, my whole heart won't be there, but I can arrive if I need to. But having that open communication goes a long way in just the overall success of your relationship across the board.
100%. And it is just the communication, it's just being honest with yourself. But don't promise something and then not deliver later. And I don't know about you guys, but if we go 3 or 4 days without, because we've had 5 a.m.s every day and we are just, tank is on 0 and we can't do it, by the 5th day we're like, oh, we need an appointment. Like, this is a problem. Like, we are, because you're losing that connection. And I will be like, I need a connect. Like, if we've had some communication misses or whatever, I'm like, I need to connect.
Yeah.
And we've gotten really good at making that connection much faster than it used to be. Now it's just, we've figured out the formula of what gets us back onto the, little bit of sexual tension road rather than being kind of disconnected. So it is.
Well, and the more sex that you have, the more sex you want to have. And so once you kind of reset and come back together, then it's like, I mean, I'll even say if it's been a little bit for us, which is rare, like as it is for y'all, but when it happens, I'll kind of forewarn. I'm like, it takes it. The first one's not going to be all that great. Like, that reconnect may not be the hottest thing in the world, but the one that I crave right after that is going to blow your mind, because if we haven't had sex for several days, which is rare, but if it happens, there comes a point about day 3 that I have to mentally shut it off, or I'll start getting cranky. I'll start picking arguments. I'll just be bitter and angry about it, because even if it has nothing to do with Fort Worth whatsoever, but I have to mentally go, okay, sexless marriage for a second, like, so that I'm not initiating, so I'm not expecting and being disappointed. Yes. So then I kind of have to jump. We kind of have to jump start, and then we have to rev the engine a little bit.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally get that. I think the next time we talk, we should, and I showed you that book.
Yeah. I love this plan.
And the beginning of this book starts to talk about a woman. So I think we should spend an episode talking about like just what women can do, what we've done to make ourselves desirable, what we do daily to just build the desire, acts of service, what are the things that we do as women to build that desire and make us exceptional so that our men want to take us on adventures. They want to put time into planning dates. They want, they want to give us attention because, they just can't stop looking at us, or they can't, they objectify us all the time. We're like, how do you create that? Because the beginning of this book starts to talk about a woman who is like single and 35, and she's like, I need to change my life. And her friend is like, well, let's get you laid. And she's like, I don't need to get, like, what? And it's like, well, you gotta create the desire. Like, you gotta create some, interest in yourself. Why does someone want to come to you? So I think our next episode, we focus on the women, and we focus on, and we can, there's plenty of examples out there of women who are just, there was a couple videos going around where people are like, I can't even listen to this. Like, she sounds annoying. And it's like, if that's you, if you sound, you want to put your stuff on the internet, read the comments and find the theme and go, oh, I sound annoying? No. If it's a theme, like, you need to pay attention to that. You need to be a little humble and realize that, like, your expectations are off. Your intention and actions don't marry up. Like, what is it? So
yeah,
that's the next one.
I love that plan. Well, I think the main takeaways today, just from kind of, I feel like we really have kind of hit all the highest points of how marriage has become sexless to some extent. Communication, dread. Men, you need to do cool shit, and you need to lead, yeah, and you need to make sure that communication includes not just what can I do to make you desire me more, but you need to say, this is a critical part of our relationship, and it's not allowed to fail,
And that was some of the biggest conversations that Noble and I had in the beginning was, I have failed marriages. This is what I expect. Like,
right.
And if that scares you, and if that's not something you want to work towards, then this isn't going to work. Like, we were both like, I'm done. I don't need your money. I can live on my own.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm going to expect. And we had some hard conversations. We had some hard times, but it was all worth it. And now we have an exceptional marriage, and it's amazing, and I'm super happy. But he was like, this is it. He laid it all out. Like, there is no negotiations here. This is it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of men are afraid to have that kind of hard conversation.
Yes.
How did y'all start that conversation? Just I would say for the men who genuinely would love to have that conversation, but don't know really what that looks like.
Well, for my husband, because he's an author, he wrote it out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And he put a lot of thought into it. Like, this is the contract. Like, these are the kinds of things I expect. This is the kind of sex I want to have. This is how often I want to have it. This is, the rules I want to get to. You sleep naked, anytime I want, all the things. Like, he was like, this is what I want to work towards.
Yeah.
You're either on board or you're not.
And I think that there's something about creating a contractual agreement that does make it feel more like something I need to adhere to my side.
And And it makes it very clear.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just super clear. Like there was no question to me exactly what he wanted. Like there was no question. I'm his third wife, right? Like he knew that if I'm getting married again, I'm not doing it unless I'm getting everything I want, because
Right.
I'm not going through this again, right? Like he was just like, I don't need to get married. I can, live a single life. I can have whatever. Like if I'm getting married, I'm getting married to an exceptional woman who is going to provide all the things that I'm looking for. And he put a lot of thought into it. And, we talked about it, and it hasn't really changed. Some of maybe the rigidity, like it's not like a checkbox, like every week, like check, check, check.
Right.
Because it's leveled off a little bit as far as like he gets anytime he wants. We're living together. I mean, it's constant. So, but in the beginning, it really set the tone, and that's all you have to do. You have to set the tone, and then when you get too far off, like 5-10 years down the road, and all of a sudden you're like, well, how the heck did we get here from the contract we started with? Like we need to reset. Like this is what I want.
Yeah.
And this is where we started. So, but for him and I, it was he wrote it all out, because that's just the kind of person he is. Like he wanted to make sure, and it's easier. It might be easier that way, because then you can read it and he can read it, and then you can come together and you can talk about it and be like, this one makes me a little nervous. Like I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we? What makes you anxious about it? Like how do we work to get to that point? And the intention was, I want to set the expectations and I want to set us up for success. The intention was not, I want to take complete control over you and have a checkbox of chores, sex chores every week. Or that wasn't the intention. It was just, this is what's going to set us up for success, because this is what I'm looking for in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I was either on board or I wasn't. So it was helpful, for sure.
Well, and I mean, this is such a silly example, but Grey's Anatomy, when McDreamy and Meredith, like they did a Post-it note and then they framed it and it was in their bedroom. Like, I know that this is a television show, but it's the equivalent. They both said, if I'm going to do this, here's how it needs to be done. And they both signed their little Post-it note and they framed it and they put it on their wall. Now, y'all's, agreement may be framed and put on your wall, but even whether it's a constant visual reminder or not, there's an important element there to sitting down with the person across from you and saying, I want this. This is what I see needing for success. I want this with you, to be clear. But if I can't have that with you, then this won't work. It just won't.
Right.
And I have to respect myself and you enough to say, we tried, but I'm not gonna continue down this road in a relationship that I know absolutely will not work in the end, if we're not setting it up for ultimate success.
Especially later on in life.
Yeah.
Like when you're 20, it's very different than when you're, a wife or two in, or, a couple marriages in, and you're like, okay, if I'm doing this again, like this has got to be good.
Yeah. There better be a really good reason.
So there's a reason why maybe that worked for us, or when it works for you when you're a little bit older than when you're 20.
That's fair.
It's definitely, it's a different relationship. So I do focus more on like kind of the over 40 crowd.
Yeah. Sarah Beth, do you have any closing thoughts or statements or anything that you feel like we haven't gotten to with this topic of sexless marriage?
I mean, objectify your husband. He likes it. So that's your action. If you're listening, that's your action for today. Go objectify your husband. I will right after this.
You've already gotten the gold stars. Now you have to, circle back and earn them.
Exactly.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will talk about foreplay. Is that what that book's called?
It is. It's called Foreplay.
That's a pretty sexy cover. I'm gonna have to figure out where to find that.
Yeah, the second one, there's more play on the next one, but this is like the master. This might be more your side, but this is like the master class. Like I think, the other one is a bit more this speed.
I love it. We will discuss that in 3 or 4 weeks, depending on when we get this scheduled. But thank you guys all for joining us today. Signing off.
Bye.